Hi, Gemini. This is your home light security reading for the month of May for all Geminis. And if you've never watched the video before, please look right there. It's telling you how to follow it, whether you're a sun, you're a moon, or a rising sign in Gemini. Gemini is you guys, for one, get out of your head. Seriously, get right out of your head. Because get out of your head, and for some of you, get out of your head with money. With your finances and stuff, because it's going to mess up your manifestation right now. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you got too much judgment going on, is what they're saying. Too much judgment going on, and you're really sifting back and forth between spiritual, three-dimensional, spiritual, three-dimensional, spiritual, three-dimensional. And your money house for you is Cancer, and right now you got Lilith in here, and that makes a big difference. But when I get into the astrology, I'm gonna explain that to you. Spirit is saying stop being inflexible because of fear of failure or speaking your truth. They are saying, really, they're saying you got to choose a side of three-dimensional at this time or spiritual, because you're going back and forth is going to mess with you. It's going to mess with your sun energy, but it's going to mess with your rulership of your core. Sorry, I had to check something real fast. When I do my readings and stuff, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these little hands. They're for astrology and for palmistry. And for me, when I do readings, Spirit speaks to my own palm about you all. So it's one of my little check signs. So what they're saying is it's going to be the sun energy, which is for you as Gemini, if this is a Gemini core sign. But it's saying it's going to be getting into your core, into your illumination of how you're thinking right now. And if you can't choose a side, you're going back and forth in between the three-dimensional spiritual, three-dimensional spiritual, three-dimensional spiritual. And what it's doing is it's taking your vibration up and down the tree, up and down the tree. And it's going, and what's happening is it's messing up your manifestation. It's messing up your zeal point. It's messing up your third eye, and it's messing up your heart, because you're getting wrapped up in fear, anxiety, doubt if you're going back and forth. And then it's causing blockages and jams, so to speak. So they're saying you got to pick a side. You got to decide which one you're in, and then force yourself to stick with it. No more of that grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities. And I know I just did this, but what I mean is the supernatural highway between the heart and the third eye, or the heart and the head, the heart, the brain, the heart, the crown, is what I'm talking about. And the throat and the zeal point that get caught in between of where you're opening up to allowing negative energies in or not. Because when you're asleep, you're not awake yet, that zeal point is protected and negative energies don't bother you. But once you're awake, then it allows those negative energies to get in, start talking in your ear, chattering, and bringing the vibration down. Then it also starts causing a problem with speaking with fear of authority, and what you're hearing and seeing and all of that, the way that you choose to view. So they're saying pick a freaking side. You either have to be three-dimensional or you have to be spiritual. No more coming back and forth. And the reason why isn't just the eclipse. You guys, you're Gemini. You're the super twins. Gemini is Jekyll and Hyde. Gemini is all logic or all emotion. One of the two. And it needs to be balanced. But what they're saying is really what they want you to do is get in balance. But if you can't get in balance, you have to pick a side. Is it logical or is it emotional? Because going back and forth, not balanced, is like tipping the scale like waves. Like, okay, like say you have one of those, I don't know, those blocks that have like the water in it. and that look like a wave, and as it turns, it can flow like this way. Well, if you tip it too much, it all flows to this side. If you tip it too much, it all flows to this side. And they're saying it's not flowing evenly, it's being tipped. So either tip it and deal with it, or balance it, plain and simple. Because with Mercury in retrograde starting on the 10th tomorrow, this is definitely reflecting the manifestation, calling directly to your character, calling directly to the way you view the world around you. You hear and speak the world around you, or you're hearing it being spoken back to you. And it gets right into that positive or that negative, and the flow isn't even. It's being jammed one direction or another, or way too fast. And that's pretty much where I'm getting it is they're saying don't set it in a direction either that's setting too much on the physical material action. They really want you to set it in balance, but understand where you're tipping it too much, because otherwise you're lacking the spiritual communication, or you're holding on to the bitterness and the blame. So they're letting you know that you're kind of out of, is what I'm getting. And a lot of this has to do with the eclipse, but it mainly has to do with the fact that up until the 22nd, Mercury is in retrograde in your sign, not to mention Lilith is here. Not Lilith, Sirius is here, which is asking you, are you really truly sifting into how you're nurturing yourself or how you're neglecting it? Now, let's see what spirit, let me read this, and then I'll see what cards they want me to go over with you. You have Mercury, which is going to go retrograde on the 10th, but also Jupiter moves into Aries on the 10th. You have the lunar eclipse in Scorpio taking place on the 16th. On the 20th, the sun moves into your sign. On the 22nd, you have Mercury moving backwards out of your sign and into Taurus, into your 12th house. Then you have on the 24th, Mars moving into Aries, which is an important day. I'll get to that when I get into the astrology more. And on the 28th, you have Venus moving into Taurus, which is also your 12th house. Now, let me see. Give me just a second to try to reach over here and get these cards, because of course the other one's the farthest away. And is there, well, if there's another deck, it'll speak up. What does Gemini need to hear? What does Gemini need to hear for the month of May before we get into the astrology itself? And of course, they picked an astrology deck. What does Gemini need to hear for the month of May? What they're giving me first off is the 10th house and the world around you, being open to understanding and seeing the truth of that. Okay, I'm not going to keep taking cards like that. I'm just not going to. So you're going to have to. Thank you. Let's see where this goes. What else does Gemini need to hear? Well, what did I just say? I can't make this shit up. 10th house, and I said seeing. Sagittarius, I see. And this is seeing the truth about what's going on around you. The 10th house is the authority in the world that surrounds you. And where is it being taken? Are you seeing what's coming? What's going on? Water element, sensory. And what was I just talking about? The waters flowing back and forth in a healthy way or unhealthy way, depending on where you project that flow will depend on what you see, on your growth. There's another card here. Where is it? Where is it? No. No. Okay, I'm going to need you to go into a higher vibration before I move into that second deck. Because otherwise I ain't pulling it. Please and thank you. They said stop not fully trusting in yourself. Stop it. Chiron. This is all has to do with a healing understanding and a healing energy for you. What is happening. And I'm telling you, it's not just the eclipse. It is definitely, it's going to go more of in the oomph of moving into its direction, more of right around Mars moves into Aries. Until then, it's kind of in that flow of reflection. And when I get into the astrology, I'll explain it better. What does this deck have to say? Please help Gemini to understand the month of May the best for them. Gemini. What does Gemini need to hear? That's just uncalled for. See me almost get knocked down then? Because I started to throw the cards down and they were like, no, you will not. The clinging. This is fire, illumination, inspiration, devotion, all-consuming passion, regeneration. It is spirituality. It is virtue. It is enlightenment. It is self, fire, energy. It is source and surrender energy, but it is coming into your radiance. This is bringing that healing forward. Is there anything else here? Abundance. Abundance, plenty. Generosity, fertility, inner riches, reaping rewards, the harvest coming to birth. It is the birth of the dragon or the rebirth of the phoenix. And I feel like this is a very big time for you. And when we get into the astrology, I'm going to make it more well known. Because I feel like there is definitely, it's happening for all of us in different ways. And it's going into a much deeper level of source, much deeper level of understanding, of getting validation of our source, validation of our bringing it back to physical world. But there's healing levels that have been avoided, overlooked, so to speak. And long story short, for all of us, none of us are getting away from it that easy. None of us are getting away from it that easy. They're coming back and they're going, no, you missed this and I'm not going to have it. So in a form, that's what the source energy is, forcing us all into our higher levels of self, which is a glorious thing. Now, Gemini, like I said, first off, your first house, starting off with your 12th house. And then we're going to go full circle. And the reason why is I always start off with wherever the sun is. Wherever the sun is technically the house that you are walking through on a universal level. So if the sun has been in Taurus, it's in your 12th house, which is your grief, sorrow, shame, blame, your insecurities. It's been walking through your self-deception, your self-undoing, where you hide it underneath the carpet and want to tell yourself that it's clean, but you know damn well it's right there. I just don't want to see it. This is forcing us to open up the skeletons in the closet and forcing us to heal the insecurities and what we've been in denial of or deception of from ourselves. And you have the sun here right now. But more importantly, you're also going to have Uranus here for like the next 4 or 5 years. as well as the North Node is here right now. The North Node tells you everything you need to learn in order to move forward. Now, it was in your sign last year, but now it was shedding like the top layer of skin last year, so to speak, because now it's getting more into ancestral, more deeper, plotted, older. What they just said is Kuiper belt. For me, when I do a lot of my astrology, I get into things that a lot of people don't talk about. I'll get into like Vista and Chiron and Juno and Pallas, and some of these are asteroids, some of these are dwarf planets and so forth. But what it is when you're looking at it from a scientific point of view, these are further out in the Kuiper belt. And to be honest, what on an astrological level, the Kuiper belt would be your skeletons in the closet. It would be, what's so far out there in the cold that you've almost forgotten about it. It's like the skeletons that built skeletons in a closet and hid themselves further back in the closet. So this is not just ancestral. It might just be very old from like when you were a child, when you were younger, but it could be ancestral as well, and bringing healings of self-sabotage that the family line does. That, self-sabotage, self-undoing, hidden self-truths, grief, sorrow, shame, blame, where we hold on to it with vampire syndrome, yet we want to ignore that we have vampire syndrome, and we don't want to even acknowledge that we do these things to ourselves, and that's actually become a comfort zone because we know what to expect. Not because it's good for you, but because you've gotten used to expecting what the results are. Now, the 12th house is where your sun is, where at the moment. It's where your North Node is. It's telling you everything that you can't continue to do anymore. You started learning these lessons while it was in your first house, your actual character. But now it's going deeper than your character. It's getting deeper into the soul, into the actual DNA and the blood flow of who and what you are. It's getting deeper into your truth. It's getting past your physical three-dimensional world and getting into the soulful existence of you, your soul line, and so forth. And it's going much deeper. You have Uranus here for the next like 4 or 5 years, which is going to keep beating on you. I'm not even lying. And it's not its strongest in Taurus. But what it's fighting to find in Taurus is independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. And so what it's going to be looking at is in these self-sabotaged moments, and these guilty, grief, sorrow, shame, blame, and insecurity that you've created to be the comfort zone, it's going, where are you neglecting your power? Where are you neglecting your self-worth? Where are you neglecting your self-love and self-acceptance? Where are you actually giving power to somebody else? You're not taking the credit for it. You're not loving yourself, but you're in fact standing on the sideline looking at yourself going, what happened? And why do you do these things? Why do you hold on to that relationship grief within yourself? And why do you tell yourself that it's acceptable? Why do you allow your sensitivities and your emotions to tell you the lie of it's acceptable? And it's trying to make you reignite a fire within you. Not just be logical, but to find that balance of that flow. And to be able to be logical while emotionally balanced. So it's not Jekyll or Hyde. It literally is Jekyll and Hyde. Not one or the other. Not emotions or logic. It is the twins coming back into a superpower. And this is what this is for you. At this time, it's illuminating some very big deal issues because of the eclipses. You just had the eclipse in Taurus, which was your 12th house. Now, the next one is illuminating the opposition of it. So it's still showing you these things, but are you willing to see the truths in which you need to see in order to make the growth and to get past your personal judgment, which actually probably is more beckoning in a being hardening on you more instead of helping. Not, it's more of working against nurturing you because you tell yourself, I'll keep putting up with it. Whereas trying to show you independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, and allow you to step out of your insecurity about standing on your own, but come back into the balance of the super twins coming into fire and being able to take on not one side or the other, but both. And you have Mercury, which is going to retrograde, of course, right back into the 12th house. Because your first house right now has that Mercury in it, in retrograde. And it's in your first house, which is your self-awareness, your physical body. But more importantly, it's how you view the world around you. By how you see it, how you hear it, how you smell it, how you think it, how you talk it. The character of who and what you are and how you perceive it, as well as yourself. It's your perseverance in this energy. And Mercury in retrograde is not talking outwardly to anybody else. In fact, it's only talking to you. And then it's going to start talking to you even harder when it jumps back into retrograde in Taurus in your 12th. So this is the time to really pay attention to where you beat up on yourself and why. Why are you doing it? Why are you allowing it? What part of your self-deception is denial, and you truly make yourself comfortable in sitting in that denial, versus what part has gone too far and actually wreaking havoc and making it worse? You heard the ambulance out there. I can't make this shit up. This is saying, when are you going to nurture yourself properly or continue to neglect it? Because only you can be the one who saves you. Only you can be the one to bring forth your full source energy by acknowledging where you're not tapping into it. Mercury retrograde makes us all a little bit self-centered because it's not communicating outwardly. It's only communicating inwardly. And when we're having this conversation with ourselves, it's very deeply about who we are and discovering parts of ourselves that we haven't allowed ourselves to be open enough to discover for the healing that we need. You have the Chiron card. Now, when you get into your second house, this is a big part of why I was saying that manifestation is taking place this way. It's your 12th house, your first house, and your second house. It's not just the second, the 12th, or the first, or even where that eclipse is going to take place. You have a Lilith right now in your second house, which is Cancer. Lilith is not extremely strong here. Lilith is, I like to put Lilith as, she can be a little egotistical, but she also is sometimes just the right amount of going, yo, I'm your fire. I was put here for a reason. And what the hell is it? And I want to get to the bottom of that. So this is coming into independence, but in Cancer, she's more submissive. Well, Cancer for you is your second house. It's your money house. You don't want to be submissive in your money house. You want to stand in your independence in your money house. Well, this is also where your law of attraction is created by the self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. And if you're being submissive about that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, then you're letting someone else into your power. And if you're letting someone else into your power, then you're not the one in it. So this is saying right now, it is dire straits important for you to be standing in your power. This is standing in your money house, in your manifestation house, in your self-worth, your liberation house. But you're going to be tested because Lilith is not strong here. She is not very powerful here. She gives up and is more ready to be the submissive one. Don't allow this. Acknowledge when you're going back into that 12th house kind of energy and allowing that submissiveness to reset a form instead of redirecting the new healthy you. Now, you don't have anything else in the next houses until we get to this eclipse. And this for you is in your 6th house. Your 6th house is your daily routines. It is your mundane tasks. And I tell people all the time, there's nothing mundane about the mundane. The only reason it seems as if it's mundane is it's so damn repetitive that you ignore it. Every day you get up from bed, every day you go to the bathroom, every day you take your shower, every day you brush your teeth, every day you go to work, every day you do this, you do that, you do this, blah, 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 blah. Surrounded by the same people, places, and things. Those people, places, and things and routines that you keep are an energy of a diet in which you keep. However, it's also dieting and eating on your energy. So are you feeding and nurturing yourself with people, places, and things that are healthy, or neglecting? Are you allowing it to eat on you as well? Okay. This is scorpionic energy for you. This should be a very comfortable place for you to be able to shift and turn and twist and try something new, because scorpionic energy is about the transformation. This may be where it's coming in difficult for you because you have the South Node in Scorpio with the very energy of the eclipse. The South Node is everything that you're good at, but it's not good for you anymore. So what about your daily routines? People, places, and things of energies that you keep, that you consume, also consume you. What part of this consumption, going either way, is not serving you anymore? But you're really good at it. You're really comfortable with it. So why change it? Well, you have to change it because you're not growing. That's part of what the South Node eclipse is. It's asking you to grow within these mundane tasks, consumptions of energy, people, places, and things, your daily routine, your daily service, your daily rituals. Where is it not helping what you are wanting it to be? Where is it just stuck in its pattern? It's stagnant. It's not growing. This is where a snag is going to come in and show you an issue. Of where it's working against you. Because it should be something that is able to be more transformational. Now, when you get into your 8th house, your 8th house, you still have major energy going on here, which is about those people, places, and things of energies that you consume, because the 8th house is the relationship zone. It's part of the consumption of energy. And it's talking about the rules, the walls, the boundaries, the reproduction, the fertility, the rebirth of these relationships in your 6th house energy of your daily life, and the routines of the family and relationships that you keep, whether it's family or just relationships. Anything you care about, you have a relationship with. You have Pluto still here. Pluto, I think, is only going to be here technically for another 1.5 years. And I think part of it will be in Aquarius. And then it will retrograde back. So this is saying, seriously, I've been trying to teach you for like the last freaking 15 years or something, how to make these relationships healthier for you, how to make them grow by showing you death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, regeneration, how you have to push them, adjust them, and manifest them in ways with proper rules, walls, and boundaries so that it can be it can rebloom. So you can let go of things and people that are not supporting your growth, that are not actually helping you to see where you're not growing, as well as giving you the helping hand to help you up. Death, decay, and destruction in your 8th house. You're not going to get these messages again. It's on its last end of list of trying to teach you what your 12th house is teaching you. How to love yourself. How to, not neglect the important parts of self-worth, self-value, self-esteem within these relationships and get lost in them. This is all trying to teach you how to set a new pattern by redirecting where it's not working, but you've gotten comfortable with it, but it doesn't do you anything anymore. And then put you in the alliance of what will work for you. Now, your 9th house, same kind of story. Your 9th house is your ethics, your morals, your spiritual self, your spiritual truth. It is your deeper reasoning for being, and it's setting your rules, your walls, your boundaries, because Saturn is still here for another year. No. Saturn hasn't retrograded yet, but Saturn's still going to be here for a while. And this is helping you tap into trusting in your own psychic abilities, tapping into setting the boundaries to support your psychic abilities, to support your soulful growth, to support your spiritual selfness, to support your spiritual development. And Saturn is rules, walls, boundaries, friction, withholdings. It's teaching you where are you allowing the outer world to have authority over you, because you're not taking authority and holding it up and going, no, I'm individual from the rest of us in this way, and this is what I will allow, and this is what I will not. This is where I will come into my spiritual truth, and what I will accept and what I will not, and where I don't have to follow, everybody else follow the leader. I'm unique, and you will see me as so. And it's helping you to understand where you're missing this energy, where you're not nurturing it properly. It is saying just because that's the rituals that have always been for your spiritual or your psychic development does not mean that they still work. Because, okay, perfect example. I tell people all the time, people want to set their little bubble, for their, their shield. They set their bubble for their shield, and you get told, and when people are coming into energy and empathedness and stuff, you create your bubble and you do this and nothing can penetrate your bubble. Eventually that shit stops working. And that's because it takes too much time and effort out of your mind. Plain and simple. And you can't always keep your mind on that and a million other things. The point is, it's a part of a growth that you have to go through before the soul fire starts to illuminate and essence out of your skin and go, yeah, I said no. I'm going to avoid, cancel, and delete that right before it even hits. There are rituals that we do, that we try, that we outgrow. And then you have to find a new way of finding a way of doing the same kind of thing, but in a different way. And the whole point is if you just set one bubble and then you outgrow it and you try to make another bubble and you outgrow it and you try. I went through where I even started putting wings on and I would just blow the energy away, and I outgrew that. If you keep trying to do the same thing on a spiritual level, an emotional level, on a ethical and moral level of your psychic truth, your deeper reasoning, then you're not growing. It's because you shouldn't have to go through all of that energy when you're in your power. When you're in your power, you know how to just push the energy back. You know how to manipulate the energy. You don't need that bubble anymore. But there's a level of growth to get you there, of knowing what you're having to do. This is not just saying with the outer world. This is saying a spiritual growth. This is a spiritual growth that you can start to take place with the relationships in your life, if they're healthy relationships that help you grow. But this is also saying from a spiritual soulful self, of tapping into a higher ranking vibration that knows better and doesn't have to put up with that shit anymore. And you learn how to grow into this by taking the chance of letting go of power of what's not working anymore, and taking the chance of trying the new by believing in your own self. This is actually great energy. It's just it's energy that we are afraid to step into often. Your 10th house is the outer authority of the outer world around you. Now, Jupiter has been here, but Jupiter moves out on the 10th and goes into Aries, which is exactly your very first card when it was saying the 11th house. And this energy up until really around the 24th, when Mars moves in, isn't going to take much change. Or when Mars moves out, is it going to take much change? Because Jupiter is moving out as the higher abundance, as higher knowledge, in that 10th house of the higher authority. But it's going to start making less emphasis on that higher authority of that outer world, so to speak, of your professional career, your honor, your reputation, the social foundation, the financial foundation. That's the 10th house, the authority of the money and everything that's coming from how you're viewed from the outer world. It's been abundantly showing on you because of Jupiter being here, whether it's been working in healthy ways or not, because Pisces is technically the 12th house. For you, it's the 10th, which means there's parts of yourself that you are afraid of in that outer world of showing, of stepping into. There's parts of yourself of that grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurity, self-undoing, self-sabotage, self-deception, where you actually getting in your way because you're not getting the growth from the spiritual energy. You're not stepping out of allowing yourself to have to, if you have to be in control of everything logically, this is part of that ebb and flow. If you have to be in control of everything logically, then there's no spiritual energy here. There's no emotional energy here, because then the logic's gone. But if you're able to allow it to flow naturally, you're allowing that inner sense of spiritual authority inside of you to ebb and flow. And then it allows you to go, I don't have to be in control of everything. My higher self and source energy and manifestation will give me the power to be what I need to be, instead of me thinking so hard in one direction or the other. This is part of what I'm saying is happening in your 10th house as well, because the 10th house is the outer world's authority over you when you don't have the ability to have the authority in it. So it's saying allowing it to ebb and flow. Well, Jupiter's been here abundantly throwing that at you, showing you where either you're nurturing it or you're neglecting it, trying to push you in the right direction and whatnot. But Jupiter's moving. It's leaving this energy. But you still have Mars here, but Mars is dud. It's a dud in the water here. It doesn't have any energy, really. It's like I'm in a freaking board meeting. So your 12th house is going, are you looking at these energies of where you're actually not helping yourself or nurturing yourself, so we can bring the healing forward when it moves into that 11th house? Because Jupiter is moving in on the 10th. But on the 24th, so does Mars. Mars is moving into Aries. They'll both be in Aries, bringing forth fire energy. Now it's time to take action. Now it's time to take the movement. Now it's time to do this. The problem with that is you have Jupiter's higher knowledge and abundance coming in. But it's an Aries energy, which is all like, I got this brilliant idea. We're going to do this. Wait a minute. I got a different idea. Mars is going to have to temper that fire. It's going to come from being in the water to going into a super explosive energy with so much thinking going on. Still having Mercury in retrograde, moved back into your 12th house. And then it's going to be moving this energy in Aries, which is your 11th house, your groups and your memberships, of being able to set the intuition, set the direction, the wishes, the dreams, the goals, and ambitions, all by redirecting the alliances of your everyday, daily, mundane tasks and people that you keep. And it's going to be wanting answers really fast and quick at the end of the month. But Mars is going to have to start tempering that energy, because it's going to try to take action so quick that it might not really give it an actual ability to take a chance to get lift off. So this is saying, while you're festering, while you're examining, while you're going through this eclipse and all these energies, start mapping out the direction. But you have to not try to be like, it's going to happen just like this, because it may not. Mars has a lot of work to do. He's going to have Jupiter's abundance, which is going to be all over the place. But the whole point is, if you're in the right alliances with the right people who love you and are in the same frequency, they're also going to be there to give you a hand and help you up, just as much as point out where you're not seeing the truth, and help you balance those waters so that you can come back into your Gemini super twin power. Because it's not logic and it's not fire. It's both. I love you. Bye.